Hey, it's Jim Hankins with Cloud Bedrock. Just wanted to give a quick walkthrough on how to install CribOps CLI on Windows. So first step is obviously head on over to cribops.com and subscribe to one of our plans. Once you have one of our plans, you'll receive an email with a attachment called license.txt. So save that in a directory on your file system somewhere on your Windows machine that you can get to. And then the next thing you'll want to do is download the appropriate installer for your operating system. In this case, this is Windows. So I've got the installer right here, so let's just go through it real quick. We just hit next. It specifies the location where it's going to install. You'll agree to the terms and hit install. It's going to pop up with your user agent control. Hit yes, and it's going to open up when it's complete the website for our documentation over there on GitHub. So that is it for the install. And at that point, it's just installing the CLI and adding it to your path. Okay, once it's installed, you can open up a command window or you can use PowerShell, whatever you prefer. Okay, so this is the directory where I have the license.txt file that was sent to me by the CribOps site. So then all you have to do is just go CribOps CLI setup. And that is going to generate a number of files in your directory there. If you look, there is a secrets folder. And then you have a bunch of files in there that contain credentials. We also generate in the same directory where your license.txt file is a git ignore, and that's just there to protect you from yourself, that you don't check in the secrets directory into a Git repository, because that would be bad. And then the next thing is there is a Docker compose file. Okay, so let's open up the Docker compose file. And you'll see that we have a dependency for Postgres. We also, by default, don't expose the Postgres port externally, but you can by just passing in that environment variable. And in that case, it will be set to whatever you provide. Then the CribOps itself, we have the image currently set to tag to latest. Once you go into production, you'll want to change that to a current version that you've tested and pin it to that until you decide to upgrade later. You'll see that the rest of these environment variables, if they're credentials, they're tied to those secrets files. Yeah, so we have volumes and secrets and whatnot. So nothing terribly fancy there with your Docker Compose. We just generate it for you so that you don't have to cut and paste. And yeah, so next thing we want to do is just do a Docker Compose up. And I'm going to put -d, and I'm going to also do a pull equals always. And that's so I can get the most current version off the repo. Okay, after you have successfully started Docker Compose, you'll go to your web browser and type localhost :4000. You'll get a page much like this. You can hit Get Started, or over here you can also hit Register. I'm going to say Get Started, and I'm going to continue with passwordless and put my email in there. Wait for PIN code. Okay, so now that I put my PIN code in, okay, now we're on the dashboard, which has a job monitor that actually you can watch as messages are transiting through the system. You can replay transactions that may have failed, or you need to replay for some other reason. But typically the first thing you're going to want to do is go to Web Endpoints. Now, Web Endpoint is nothing more than a connection between where you're wanting to send the webhook and the public webhook name that we provision on your behalf. So if you go to new webhook URL, I'm going to point it towards a N8N node that I have here running on premise. I'm going to call the queue Docker 1, and the description is fine, and I'll say save webhook. And that's it. At that point, that is, you now have a public webhook, which you can just hover over here, click, and that'll copy the URL to your pasteboard, and then you can use it in whatever client you want to be able to send the message to, right? So off screen, what I'll do is send a test transaction, and let me just click this button so it's a little easier to see the jobs monitor. That's a full screen. And I'll go over here and I'll send a couple messages to that public URL that I copied into my my clipboard. So now you're seeing messages coming in here, and if you see completed, you'll see that I sent a webhook, basically, right? So that's cool, but what would be even cooler is if we could send a bunch of messages, which let me do that off screen here. So I'm going to send about 5,000 messages, not about, exactly 5,000 messages, and you're going to see those starting to come in here in a sec. So let me go back over here to the dashboard. Now you see the messages are flowing in. And what's happening behind the scenes is when those webhooks hit the public endpoint, we're taking them and we're putting them into a durable queue. So it's a place to kind of buffer the webhooks, and if you have like a stampeding herd of traffic towards your e-commerce site or what have you, or if you have a single point of failure in your path for your webhook processing, if that's down, like an internet connection is down, etc., we're storing that for you until you come back up to 14 days. So you've got 14 days to kind of solve things for you. But you'll see that it's pulling those down rather quickly. And then what it's doing is it's storing them in a database and then feeding the request over to the defined endpoint. And remember, I said it was in N8N. So if I come over here and I think it was this one. And you'll see my workflow wasn't terribly interesting, right? It's just a wait state, right? But that's the idea, right? So it's, basically CribOps is taking those messages and feeding them to N8N and doing it in such a way that it doesn't overwhelm N8N in the process. So yeah, that's the kind of the magic of CribOps is we have the ability to provide a highly available front door to your webhook automations. We have the ability to store those for you until your system has the bandwidth or availability to consume them in a reliable and secure way. We hope that helps. If you have any questions, reach out to us at cribops.com.